If you thought draft rumors and speculations were wild baseline, it gets amplified even more so come draft week. The latest with the Vikings being that, according to Jamie Eisner, COO of the Draft Network, he has heard, quote, loud rumblings. See, even the adjectives become amplified, not just rumblings, loud rumblings that the Vikings are looking for every which way to trade up for a quarterback. Not only does he believe that they'll pull it off, but he also thinks that the Vikings will select Will Levis at pick number 2, presumably over CJ Stroud. But wait, there's more. The madness with Will Levis doesn't end there. Because today, after a Reddit post saying that the Kentucky quarterback is telling those close to him that he's going number 1 to the Carolina Panthers. Coincidentally, after that post on Reddit, his odds of being the first overall pick went from 50 to 1 to 4 to 1. This from PointsBet Sportsbook. We hit draft week, and I've got to channel the greatest discipline in not overreacting to rumors, man. The rest of today through Thursday afternoon, unless any sort of actual news goes down, say the Vikings do in fact trade up to the second overall pick, something concrete, you got to take it with a grain of salt. But to play both sides here, say that Reddit is indeed the holy football prophecy, and Carolina, after moving picks and DJ Moore for the first overall pick in the 2023 draft, they in fact select Will Levis. If Houston is down to do business for that second overall pick, I would say 0.5% chance this happens, dream becoming reality. Vikings trade up to the number 2 spot and select Bryce Young. I will celebrate so hard. But today, I want to talk about the ultimate draft game plan for the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, you only have 5 picks to work with: 23, 87, 119, 158, and 211. Realistically speaking, you're looking at 2 immediate impact players, best case 3, depending on what happens at pick 119. But you've got long-term question marks, yes, at quarterback, but also at wide receiver, left guard, center, interior defensive line ×2, edge, inside linebacker, and safety. There's a lot of work to be done if you are going to challenge Philadelphia and San Francisco in the NFC. And if you believe that trading up for a quarterback in this draft is the right move to do, then you must be confident as an organization that he's going to be a star player. Not necessarily a superstar, but a quarterback who can at least make up for some deficiencies within the rest of the roster. Otherwise, the Niners, they have laid out the blueprint. Tighten up every nook and cranny with the personnel, so that way the next man up at quarterback doesn't necessarily have to be the second coming of Jesus. Trading up for a quarterback that ends up failing in this draft, you can't build a roster around that. Not only do you lose out on that quarterback, but you also lose out on at least 3 first-round picks in the process. But 5 picks going into Thursday night. The ultimate draft game plan for the Minnesota Vikings. For this, we're talking about building up draft capital. What you do with those picks, that's up to you. The first being the most obvious: trade down from pick 23 for a later first round pick and a second, or 2 second round picks. Number 2, if you can get a first and a third, which the market dictates value, the Bradley Chubb deal, in my opinion, certainly set the precedent, I think the Vikings should explore a Danielle Hunter trade. Jacksonville, for example, they need massive help with their pass rush, and they've got a quarterback on a rookie deal. They can afford Danielle Hunter. So far, with these first 2 moves, you're talking about adding 3 plug-and-play talents. Zadarius Smith doesn't want to be in Minnesota. Trade him to another edge-needy team, say Carolina, for example. I think you can get a third-round pick. The Panthers, they have pick 93. They also have the cap available right now, $26 million. If you can get a third-round pick, go ahead and take it for Zadarius Smith, man. And lastly, this is the extreme. I've talked about this before. I don't necessarily think the Vikings end up doing this at all. But if San Francisco is down, trade Kirk Cousins to the 49ers. Get a first-round pick, and the $28.5 million in dead cap next year suddenly disappears if it is a pre-June 1st trade, which makes you bigger players in free agency in the offseason of 2024. These 4 moves get you an additional 5 plug-and-play guys between this year and next year's draft. And Dalvin Cook, for the sake of cap purposes, trade him for whatever. A 2032 conditional 7th round pick? Done. A can of biscuits? Sold. But 5 immediate impact players that you're adding on top of the 2 to 3 that you're expected to get with your 5 original picks in this year's draft, and the Vikings still be in good shape. Comments time. Bob M says, so many Vikings fans have drunk the Kool-Aid on Richardson. Last year in the SEC, this 53% passer was the 6th best quarterback in the SEC behind Young, Levis, Hooker, Jefferson, and Bennett. All these Big Ten Vikings fans probably never watched a single Florida game last year. Florida, under Richardson, won 3 SEC games, and he had 9 interceptions. They were 6-7 overall. Richardson is Kellen Mond 2.0. The funny thing there is, Mon was actually a much better passer in college compared to Richardson right now. But to your point, you can't complete 53% of your passes and it be everyone else's fault. And the idea that, oh my God, sub 60% completion rate in college, but he's athletic, so that means he's the next Josh Allen, right? Josh Allen was an anomaly. For every one Josh Allen you can find as far as being a prolific passer at the next level, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, for every Josh Allen you can find, there's 1,000 other dudes that couldn't even make it as a third stringer in the National Football League. It's ridiculous. There is just so much. There's way more risk than reward, in my humble opinion, because there's just too much to overcome. A quarterback who just needs to learn how to throw, oh my God, he's a top 5 pick. That's ridiculous. Clayton Brill says, apparently he scored extremely low on the quarterback IQ test. Extremely low. Talking about CJ Stroud there. I don't care about the test. Watch the tape. And I've been hard on CJ Stroud. Couldn't beat Michigan. But he is, in his defense, he is the prototype quarterback as far as size, accuracy, and mobility. So I think he is probably the safest quarterback to go with at the next level. I just don't know if he's capable of winning those big games. But I understand why, if you want to trade up for any quarterback that's not Bryce Young, it's going to be CJ Stroud. And lastly, Zach Haselia says, better than Levis, but in my opinion, he's just Jared Goff with wheels. Let me ask you something, Zach. Jared Goff, you're talking about CJ Stroud as well here. Jared Goff was arguably the 2nd best quarterback in the NFC last year. Maybe you want to go Kirk Cousins or Geno Smith. But would you not, if you have the opportunity to go get what could be the 2nd best quarterback in your conference and add on scrambling abilities, would you not take that? Or, go ahead and answer in the comment section. Would I take that? Yeah,